Greetings, everyone. So, we're just waiting for my guest today, Lavish. We're going to be talking about all things Minnesota. Let me know how the connection is. Can you hear me? Hey, can you hear me? How's the audio? Thumbs up if the audio's good, if everything's coming through clear. I'm going to add Lavish. All right, sounds good. I'm really going to need to know when I get him on here how it sounds.
You.
Greeting. Uh-oh. I think I'm hearing it already.
We tapped in.
Yes. You guys, let me know how the audio is in the comments. Lavish, if you can kind of like, we'll talk, but I know that sometimes there's like a bounce back echo. But we can just get into it and then they'll just tell us in the comments how it sounds or whatever. So, how are you today?
Hey, blessed. Grateful to be on here with you. Grateful to be talking with you. But I'm good. Out here in Minneapolis, it's rainy. But we holding it
Rainy.
down to the ground.
Okay, okay. Nice. Well, why don't you tell those who are watching a little bit about yourself?
Okay, let's do it. So, my name is Lavish. I'm from Minneapolis. I actually grew up a couple blocks away from where I'm at right now. I went to school behind me, like 2 blocks behind me. So, I'm right where I grew up. When I was a teenager, I grew up a couple blocks away from where George Floyd was actually murdered. I grew up on 38th and 4th, which is just a couple blocks over from 38th in Chicago. I used to go to the store, Cup Foods, that called the police on George Floyd. So I've been over there my whole life. And as soon as I heard about what happened to him last year, almost a year ago, I immediately came back to Minneapolis because I wasn't in the city. I haven't lived here my whole life. I left when I was 18, 28 now, so I was gone for like eight, 8 years, 9 years, something like that. So I've been back ever since.
Definitely. So you mentioned, when you heard about what happened to George Floyd, even though, being from Indianapolis, you actually weren't in the area.
Right.
What motivated you to say, you know what, I have to go back to Minneapolis. I need to be in the city. What motivated you specifically about George Floyd's situation?
Initially, what it was just I felt like it was my responsibility, or I felt like it was my duty, or just like not like it would be wrong of me 100% not to be there. There was no way that I wouldn't go. Um, so initially, it was just like, yo, if I don't go, and I grew up going to this store, I know exactly where it is. People all over the world going hard for him. What I look like not going, right? So it was just like I had to. Like it wasn't even a thought. I just went ASAP. So
Hmm.
I got there, I think, 3 days after it happened. So everything when I touched down, or maybe it was 2 days. I think it was the
Hmm.
second night. Everything was still on fire. It was
Hmm.
crazy for sure. But yeah, it was mandatory. I just had to go.
Definitely. So you mentioned Cup Foods. When we talk about the death of George Floyd, Cup Foods is synonymous with his death. Being that they were the establishment that caught the police on George Floyd for the counterfeit $20 bill. For those of us that are not from Minneapolis, what can you tell us about just, prior to George Floyd, the vibe of Cup Foods, what does that store offer to that community?
Right. So unless you've been here, like you mentioned, or unless you're from here, people really don't know the background or really know how much of a role Cup Foods had to play in it, right? So just to start off, George Floyd was murdered because they said he had a fake $20 bill. In court, you got to have evidence. The fake $20 bill never was brought up. There was
Hmm.
no fake $20. Like, where's the fake $20 bill? So the fact that they called the police for fake $20 bills when they exchange out 20 fake money at Cup Foods, it's low key. It, like me just exposing them is wild, but I'm not really exposing them because everybody from there knows this. Um, but they've gotten, they basically like shelter the gang over there. It's a blood neighborhood, so they shelter the gang, so the gang protects them. So the store that got a black man killed has other black men from the neighborhood protecting them. It's crazy. So all these places burnt down. Countless businesses are just gone. There's nothing there anymore. And now new developers are about to come in and build it. But the one place that didn't get burnt down, that should have been the first, was Cup Foods. Um, they act like they for the community, but they've been around since I think like '88. And you could ask old heads. They had one barbecue, and that was the first summer they ever came out, and that was it. They ain't never had no scholarships. They never, they let people come in and hide their drugs in there. They part of the problem, not the solution for sure. So it's even deeper than that. But just know that it's just so hypocritical that they would call the police on somebody for doing a fake 20 when you can go in there and just exchange out fake bills, or you could go in there and sell stolen stuff, buy stolen stuff, whatever. So um, just it was mind blowing to me. I'm like, what? They called the police? So
Right. Well, to be respectful of the young man, who has been having a really hard time, the one that
yeah,
did call the police, we just want to be mindful of his experiences. But, we talked about this, and I thought that that was a very interesting dynamic. And, thank you for sharing that for those of us that, again, are not from Minneapolis. I did have the opportunity to interview the owner of Cup
right.
Foods.
Yeah, you did.
I was brought through to the establishment from a Black woman who is from the community as well. And I just, from her perspective, she was saying that, people wanted to burn up Cup Foods, but she was just like, she didn't feel this, this is from her perspective. She didn't feel that the store should be burned. And she said that they had a more connect, they had a connection to the Black community that wasn't like as broadcast in terms of like, some children, even, I don't know, like, let me not say I don't know. Let me be very concise in what she was saying. She was saying that she didn't feel that Cup Food should be burned because she felt that they did have a sense of a connection to the Black community. Excuse me. And that could be expressed in various ways, but that was just her perspective. And
They may have,
so,
everybody probably had a different experience with it for sure.
right, right,
They,
right, definitely.
I'm not gonna say they didn't,
Right.
period. But the overall consensus. But
Hmm.
I'm glad, at least I hope that people benefited from their existence to some degree, but they don't need to exist no more. End of the day.
Mm. I
But
feel
no,
you, definitely.
you did interview bro though for sure, and I remember watching that, and it was good and wild that you did because nobody else really did.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there was like this Swedish reporter or whatever, like this white guy. He was inside the store and I remember he asked like, "Oh, can I take your picture?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then he was like, "Can I interview you?" And he was like, "Oh, I'll give you, the number to my PR rep or whatever." And then the
Mm-hmm.
black girl who had brought me through, she was like, "Yeah, she's a journalist from LA, and I asked him if I could interview him. And he was like, "Is this going to go to the Black community?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "All right." And so that's when we sat down, like, in the little lobby, little
Yeah,
area
right.
right by the little deli or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, Cup Foods is popping, like from a business standpoint, you feel me? Like if
yeah.
as an owner, I wish I had something that was like well, they got
They
the
do it all.
halal deli popping, they got the phone shop popping, they
Hell
got
yeah.
the come and get, all the, you feel me,
But
products
it's
for
just
your
crazy that people can't see past that though. Like they killed George Floyd. They could have called the police on you too, bro. Why would you go shop
Oh,
there?
okay, listen. I was just saying from a business
Oh,
standpoint
from a
that
business model, they got it though.
from a business model. And you're
Like a
right.
motherfucker to do,
And
yeah.
it should, I'm not taking up for Cup Foods because the owner let me interview him. Let's be clear,
Right,
definitely
right, right.
not. And so I guess I should be a little bit more mindful of like my language. But yeah, at the end of the day, this kid calling the police, he didn't know that they was gonna do that to him. But again, like a fake $20 bill when that could have been taken out of your pay for that day, it doesn't really make sense. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? But they did release a statement after that saying that, they're going to basically engage in nonviolent ways of conflict resolution moving forward, so where they don't have to call the police. But at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, Black people in general, we should be mindful of where we shop at. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. Because they're not Black people.
Right,
Nice people from the interaction I had for the 5 minutes, but they're
right.
not black, not black. But
Facts.
I digress. I don't want to, you feel me, take too much of your time to talk
No,
about
no,
my
no. You good?
experiences. But we did tap in with each other while we were out there.
Yeah,
Uh, shout, Shouts out to Dexter for making that connection. And
yeah.
yeah, again, I want to thank you for, being taken around the city with somebody that was from there, pointing out, the various businesses and just, what was significant in the city just really helped out as a journalist. And so thank you so much. And also, when you think back to last year, May 2020, at the height of the George Floyd protest, you just got back to Minneapolis, you touch the ground, you see everything that's happening around you. What do you remember most from that time last year, 2020, right when the riots popped off?
Man, I remember most from last year was there was like a window maybe of like 6 weeks, probably
Hmm.
maybe like 5 weeks, because it was right around Juneteenth when things kind of started to change a little bit. But for the first 100%, um, for the first wait, let me address what Shorty just said real quick. Taking $20 out of the employee's pay is bogus, though. That is why the employer has shop insurance. However,
Hmm.
black dude who worked there said, "No, no, no, bro, it's all good. Don't call the police. Just take the 20 out of my check." He offered that. It's not like they went to him and was like, "We either gonna call the police or it's 20 out of your check." He said, "Nah,
Right.
it's cool." That wasn't George Floyd's first time going there. He lived in the community. Everybody goes there. So dude was like, "Nah, it's all good. Just take it out of my check." I digress though, but let me just cover that. But
Yeah.
what I remember most about last year was the just the love and the peace. For like maybe like 4 to 5 weeks, it was the safest space you could ever go to in your life. It was like a Disney movie couldn't replicate it. And you were there for that part, I think, when there was all the food on the streets, bro, organic
Oh,
produce,
yeah.
like literally for 2 blocks, literally. There was organic fruits and vegetables lining the street. The shit was like Wakanda, bro. Like it was unstoppable. It didn't even make sense. You could go there and it was like Disney couldn't make a better film. It was crazy. I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen community come together like that. It didn't matter the color, the creed, the whatever. Everybody was on the same wave, and it was just love. Like it was love. Everybody was acting out of love. The frequency was so high. It was amazing. Like if you were there, if anybody else, I don't know if anybody in here was there. Um, it was
Yeah.
crazy, and I remember that the most for sure. Just the fruit lining the street, the water, if diapers being handed out, essentials, soap. I remember when a group called Twin Cities Relief Initiative, which is huge now, and they give out food and essentials everywhere, and we're doing all over the winter. I remember their inception when they first started, just 2 grills, just started cooking lines of food, handing out food. So it was perfect, yo. Like for real, it was perfect.
Definitely. Yeah, I do actually remember that for sure. And especially in front of Cup Foods and how it kind of the community took that space over.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of, I remember people out there with their tables and their food.
Hmm.
And yeah, I do remember that definitely for sure.
It was so abundant. You could go there with absolutely nothing. You
Hmm.
could go there with no clothes, no hope, no money, and you would
Hmm.
leave with all of it.
Hmm.
Like people were
Definitely.
just willing to serve. People were not in it for themselves, they were in it for others. And when there's more humanity in the world and in your community and in your life,
Hmm.
shit will change for the better, and it did in those moments for sure. um
Hmm.
Obviously I remember the protests at first. Another thing I kind of remember was, which I'm kind of okay with to a degree, was the lack of black people at protests.
Mm.
But sometimes y'all see my skin. You see, I'm only a quarter black, and sometimes I would be like the black person at the protest. If I'm the black person at the protest, it ain't no black people. So, but I kind of excused it in my own mind, just like we happen to go through so much. Maybe we don't have the energy to come out and protest every day, and the privilege that I do have over somebody that's darker, maybe that allows me to come out here and be a voice for the collective. But I remember that as well. Not right away. Black people was out for show right away, but it kind of dwindled out, and then there's a lot of white people. which was cool, you know, allies, come on.
Hmm.
But
Definitely.
I remember that.
So, you mentioned allies, you
Hmm.
know, and I mean, we can go several different ways, when we talk in terms of conversation, when we talk about allies and allyship to the Black community.
Hmm.
And basically, from your opinion and perspective, what is a true ally? Like, what is that for
I feel like
somebody?
it. Go ahead.
I was just saying, for somebody that isn't Black, that feels empathy towards what's happening, and they want to come and help with with the issues and share what's happening, but there's a very there's a you have that person has to be very conscious of how they go about that. So from your opinion, like, what contributes as an ally?
Right.
Like, what? Yeah.
So I think just like with activists that don't tap in with the family or they don't tap in with an organization, an ally that doesn't check in with the people that they're aligning with or are supposed to be there with, I think they may be misguided and maybe not on purpose. They just don't understand. So to be an ally all the way, you got to do what you got to be there how they need you to be there. Whether that's, Black people can be an ally of another group, Asian solidarity, yellow, what is it called? Yellow peril. That's an ally. White people, LGBTQIA plus, that's an ally. So whatever the ally is into whatever group, regardless of that, you gotta let go of what you think is good for the group. Because you might have an outside looking in opinion that doesn't actually fit what they need. So, like, let's say, obviously, the biggest ally we think of is like a white person for Black people. White people may have their own ideas, and for me specifically, I have this duality throughout my entire life, so I can kind of see both sides and understand maybe a side that the other side wouldn't be able to, right? So, you gotta let go of what you think would work because it's outside of your experience. You can't say, like, I can't say what Mexican life is like. I just can't. So I can't go into a Mexican zone and be like, hey, I think this will work. And even if my intentions is righteous and I really believe, like, yo, I've seen it working up in my community, it might work for you, it might not. And they might even be wrong. But for me to go against their will, I'm also wrong. So, we just got to be there for the people as an ally, how that group, whatever it may be, needs you to be there for them. Just like activists. Activists be out here trying to march and do all this other shit, but didn't check in with the family and see, like, what does the family want you to do? How do they want you to move? So I think bottom line, our allies gotta move according to the group they're trying to align with.
Hmm. Definitely, definitely. Okay. So this is something that I want to touch on real quick. I came to Minneapolis, and one of the things that really was concerning for me was the fact that how the city was burnt up like that or
Right,
whatever,
that shit was crazy.
and it's like
Right,
I'm from LA, you feel me? Home of the Rodney King riots. I was born around that time, so I didn't see it for myself.
right.
Seen a lot of historical photos and documents and things like that. But to actually see something to that magnitude where they done burnt up the whole police station, they done burnt up city blocks, they done burnt up banks, you feel me? Just a whole, just a lot of damage. But the thing for me was the fact that I saw these symbols written on the
Oh, yeah,
specifically the bank. Like, I'll never forget, the bank was just like gutted. Like, they dropped a bomb in that bitch. I was like, whoa, like, what
yeah,
the
that
fuck
shit
is
was
going on?
crazy.
It was like professional arsonists, honestly. Okay, that's what it looked like. And
Damn,
then
Wells Fargo on by the fifth precinct.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was ugly. But what I saw on there was they had the A with the circle on it. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was the anarchist symbol or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had on there real nigga shit or whatever. And I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I really know this ain't a Black person, okay? Because we're
Right.
gonna burn this bitch up and then wait around and write real nigga shit on it. Like, come on now, that's so disrespectful. for one. But it just made me feel like there was just like like different energies that was operating within George Floyd's murder. You know what I'm saying?
There was.
I don't know if it was the anarchists. That shit could have been the police acting like the anarchists, but I don't know if that was just specifically people. Some
Initially, there
people,
was. What are they called? There's a term for like the other group coming in and acting like they're your group. Voyeur. What is this shit called?
fucking infiltration.
Yeah, infiltration for sure. It was there like early on, like day 2 of George Floyd. There was cops breaking shit. St. Paul cops, Minneapolis and St. Paul. For anybody that doesn't know, it's the twin cities. If you weren't from here, you wouldn't know the difference. Other than they kind of look a little different. No shade, but St. Paul's ass. She from St. Paul. Look, she from St. Paul. St. Paul is weak.
Stall her out.
Look, so they had St. Paul police, which would be like, let me see, in LA, it would be like Eagle Rock and Echo Park, like they right next to each other, like you don't know the difference. So they was coming in like breaking windows, and there's a big ass street here called Lake Street. It's like 2 blocks away from me right now. I could drive over there and show y'all what it looks like right now.
What it look like?
We could go. It's close. We'll go ahead, drive over there. But that's another topic that we can touch on in like a couple minutes. But they were breaking shit, and there's a what is it called? What's that guy? AutoZone. Bro, AutoZone got gas in it, oils, all kind of flammable joints. Bro was throwing fire in it, fire Molotovs, and people running up to him like, bro, whoa, what you doing, bro? It's right next to the Target that first got, invaded. People like, whoa, bro, that bitch blew up. Boom! And there's a video of dude, he had on all black, good armor, like boots and shit. People like, who is dude? He's busting shit with a hammer. They like, bro, stop. And at this point, all that had gone up was one building on fire, and Target was looted. Target was looted off rip.
Mm-hmm. Of course, looting for sure. But when we talk about professional, what appears to be like professional arson, I think that's a whole nother level. Like buildings
Like that
gutted
Wells
from the
Fargo you were
inside,
talking about?
like the Wells Fargo. Yeah,
We
for
about to
sure.
drive past the Wells Fargo right now. So, look, she
What it
said,
look like?
I'm going to show
Did
you.
they
I don't
fix it?
know. Did they fix that joint? No. Nah, they didn't. They took down a lot of buildings, though. All right, I'm going to flip my camera right here real quick. So, y'all see, can I zoom? Okay, y'all see
Mm-hmm.
Thurston Jewelers?
Yeah.
On night 3, look at Black Lives Matter all year round. I was on this corner, like right there. And this Thurston Jewelers, man, if this was like 2 days ago, you would think we was in Iraq, bro. It was National Guard there, National Guard there, National Guard there. They was walking across the streets with big sticks. So this dude, Thurston, he owns it. People was trying to break into his joint. Boom! He started shooting out the windows. It was crazy. So that way is called Uptown to the west. It's like a more well-to-do area. And then we go this way, east down Lake Street. And this is like, you don't even got to speak English going this way. You can speak all Somali and Spanish. Look, a dude said, dude with the umbrella was a cop. He was, bro. So I'm going to just flip the camera around real quick. This is kind of where it begins shortly here. Like this, they just built this up. I don't remember what was here. But you see Harriet Ave? I grew up on Harriet. This was not here a year ago. That building was not here a year ago. That black building is 2 years old. I don't know how it didn't get on fire. Let me see. This Popeyes, black people is not burning Popeyes, first of all. The
You
Hooks,
stupid.
bro. This is like one of the main restaurants on Lake Street. Hooks, bro. People not burning down this. This was a Walgreens, gone. Now, do I think people looted it? Yeah, for sure. Walgreens they got what people need a lot of times. So I believe it. But now once we pass this street right here, Pillsbury, everything from this point all the way is lawless. Like she could drive around right now, even still, and get no ticket. You could go wild over here, especially during George Floyd time. Like everything is still boarded up out here. Like you can't go into a restaurant. You can't go into a store unless you go out like at least 20 miles. Still, bro. Even after,
Whoa.
bro, when you was here, it's similar for a year straight. It's been like that still. Like you can't. Some people don't go out, period, because they feel like they're gonna get shot by just because it's like a void. Ain't no police. When police do show up, they don't give a fuck. They just pick the body up and slide, and then it's completely lawless. Like you can do anything here right now. It's like we not in America. It's like we in a third world country.
Oh, wow.
Like how when you was here, it's like that still, bro. Except no fire. Nothing's on fire.
Mm-hmm.
But people still
So,
want to loot, especially after Dante Wright. Oh, they was looting. They looted another Target. They was going crazy.
mm, damn. So, yeah, like let's talk a little bit about Dante Wright. Like, rest in peace to this young man. Um, was killed. Did you end up going to his funeral?
So I actually am in contact with his mother and his brother, but out of respect for them, I didn't even reach out and inquire if it was possible for me to go. I know that they would have probably said yes, because other people that are not a part of the family that I know of, they went. But I just felt like, oh, let's go to the Wells Fargo. It's right here. We at the Wells Fargo. And this is that Kmart we was in, bro. You remember the Kmart?
Where they
Um,
stole my goddamn backpack at?
yeah, exactly. That one. Look at where is it at? It's gone.
What is it? The Kmart?
Nah,
Oh, the
you
Wells
can't go in there.
Fargo.
The Wells
The Wells
Fargo is
Fargo is
gone.
gone.
Nothing's
Gone.
there anymore.
They tore the whole building down and just got all.
Yup. So there's all this space
Wow.
now, and the fifth precinct is right over there. We'll
Hmm.
go past it. It's still boarded up, bro, and they still be standing on the roof.
Who, the police?
Yeah, you can go. Look at ramp road closed. Like this joint is
Whoa.
still identical, bro. Barricades. This is green grass they're trying to grow.
Wow.
That's where the Wells Fargo was.
Wow.
And then this is the fifth precinct.
Wow.
Barbed wired up. It's impossible. There's no
Damn.
access in any way.
What the hell?
Still, bro.
Not the barbed wire. I remember there was a whole bunch of people right there in that intersection.
Yeah, exactly. And you was sitting on that car top. Yep.
Wow. What about the Kmart parking lot and all of those buildings over there?
Kmart is still there, but it's just an empty building. See, Wells Fargo. Where is it at though? It's gone. Kmart is
Damn.
like just an empty building, and they for a minute they was having like car shows and doing like car drag racing and wild shit in there. See, this was a huge Wells Fargo, y'all. Gone now.
Damn.
They still got the ATM though.
Okay, well, you got the
Go
ATM.
straight
You
in
could
them
pull up and get some
motherfuckers.
cash.
But
That's
yeah, but
crazy.
it yeah it is. As far as Dante Wright though, I was at his wake the day before his funeral, which was what day is it? Saturday? Is it Saturday?
Today's Friday.
Okay, Friday. Ooh. So I was there on Wednesday at his wake, and I was able to go up to the casket. He had an open casket so people could see his body, and that was insane. When you're a little kid and you cry and you can't breathe. I didn't cry at his casket, but when I walked out of the church, I was like, couldn't breathe for a minute. You know,
Yeah.
um, so what has to happen though, one of the reasons that George Floyd's case, he got guilty, guilty, guilty. Derek Chauvin got guilty, guilty, guilty is because of the way people was out. I strongly believe, like I believe in protests for sure, but there has
Mm.
to be other work done as well so that it doesn't continue to happen. There got to be legislative work. There got to be laws. There got to be, so much more than just protesting, but being being so strong with the protesting, not just in Minneapolis, but everywhere. Like, as you notice, Makia, 15 years old, Ohio, that got on the news. Um, Andrew Brown in North Carolina, that got on the news. All these police murders are getting on the news, whereas before they wasn't getting on the news. And I think it's really because of the way we set precedent with how to respond to this. If you want to get coverage and you want to spread the word about it and not have these murders swept under the rug like they so often are, Shit, I think it was because we was out in the streets like this,
No, I feel you. I agree, definitely. So, were you surprised when he received the guilty?
bruh. I was mind blown. So I was down at the government center with where a lot of other people were as well. What up, 38th in Chicago, George Floyd Square? Y'all go follow 38th in Chicago, George Floyd Square. They are 38th in Chicago, George Floyd Square. All the
Hmm.
updates, any updates, they are the ones from day one been holding it down right there.
Okay.
But when the verdict came in, I was mind blown. I couldn't believe it. 98.7% of the time, a cop doesn't get charged. Let me know if y'all can still hear me. We good? Okay, we good. 98.7% of the time, a cop doesn't get charged with a murder, let alone convicted and then guilty on all three. Not like they gave a different sentence.
Right.
Like Breonna Taylor, wanton endangerment. What is this?
Right.
What is this law? No one heard of this. What is this? Bro was guilty, guilty, guilty. I was I was screaming. I was mind blown. It
Hmm.
didn't make sense to me. And what was crazy to me is a lot of people was like, in my mind, overly confident about the results. Like, oh yeah, I'm feeling good about it. Like, do y'all not know about the 1,127 other people that was murdered in 2020 that didn't get justice? Namely Breonna Taylor, which was as large as George Floyd.
Right.
None of them got justice. What makes y'all think he gonna get justice? I was thinking maybe he was gonna get the second-degree manslaughter charge, and that's a minimum of 10 years. He doesn't have any previous charges. He's a cop. He gonna do 2.5, 3 years. He's gonna be gone, bro. We down there, and that lane's open too. I think if you when I was down there, if I recall correctly, people got in the middle of the circle. There was like maybe 300 people there, and everybody ran to the middle and was listening to one phone. Somebody was watching, and they were like, guilty. And that was for the second-degree manslaughter. And we all go crazy. Hey! 30 seconds later, they said guilty. We like, oh, shit. So that was for the third-degree murder charge, which is crazy. 2 out of 3. And I'm like, no way they about to get the third degree or the second degree murder. It's no way. He's gonna say, I acquit you of this or whatever. They like guilty. I'm like, oh, I couldn't believe it, bro.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it either. I thought definitely maybe, guilty on one or two, but they was going to try to do some faulty stuff or whatever. And then how the jury, it wasn't just like a immediate kind of, not immediate, but maybe a few hours, but we had to wait till the next day. It kind
Yep.
of had me feeling like maybe they couldn't get like a consensus or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they tried to get a quick little, some little points on Maxine Waters or whatever. I was like, what is going on here? You feel me? But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
talk.
Wow.
You actually sent me the video because you were down there and you after the murder of Dante Wright and looked up and Maxine Waters was actually right there. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Man, I looked up and I'm like, yo, like you said, Maxine Waters is right there. So I don't love politics, but I'm into politics for sure. One of their tactics is make it so complicated that we don't know about it. That way they can just do anything they want. So anybody on here, go get some politics knowledge real quick for sure. Join an organization that'll teach you about politics. But
Right.
that being said, I knew who Maxine Waters was. She Congresswoman California.
Mm-hmm.
So they like Maxine Waters is here. I'm like, what? Is she tripping? Smoke out here. So she got to going and she was basically saying, y'all got to stay out here. Y'all got to keep fighting. Forget what these cops talking about. If y'all get hit by rubber bullets, keep going, whatever. Protest or the media was like, so Maxine, are you going to stay out here? We like, bro, she's like 80. Of course she's not going to stay out here. We're not even going to let her stay out here. But that was wild. And what was crazier was that the defense, Derek Chauvin's defense attorney, tried to use that against and be like, nah, see, I told you that's going to sway the jury. So that's why they changed, the court changed a little bit And it was pretty scary because he was like, yo, Maxine Waters messed up the case. We need a retrial. Oh, let me show you this. All this was on fire.
What was that?
That was that was what was that? That was like a temp agency.
Not the temp agency, bruh.
Yep, that was a temp agency, a MoneyGram, and then
Not the
like
MoneyGram.
yep, the MoneyGram, and then it was also like right where I'm looking. Let me see. Hold up. So like temp agency, MoneyGram, boom. This was like a furniture store, and then what they eventually turned it into, which was amazing, was a look, still boarded up, bro. They turned it into like a community grocery store, but they burned the goddamn grocery store.
Well, who did what? Okay, so the majority of the businesses outside of like, the Target or Walgreens, like the corporate chains, how would you describe the demographics of the businesses that were burnt up during the protests?
There go another one. That was McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
The businesses was all local Somali and Mexican businesses. So right now we are in Mexico, essentially. Like I was saying, you don't need to learn to speak English over here. So all boarded up. This right here was that auto zone. They just rebuilt it. Wow, they
Hmm.
rebuilt it.
Hmm.
That was gone, bro.
Hmm. So AutoZone was able to rebuild, but some of the smaller
Exactly.
businesses are still boarded up.
Yep, you'll see
Like,
it. There'll be whole blocks gone. It looked like Detroit and watch. So this is 4th Street. This is the street I grew up on right here.
okay.
You know, if somebody from LA came to right here, they'd be like, "Oh, I'm in LA." Like, look at this.
Mm-hmm.
It's super similar. A lot of stuff
Mm-hmm.
written in Spanish. And then let me see. We're about to keep going on the right and left. There's entire businesses just gone that
Oh
I don't think
hell no.
will ever come back because the business owners didn't own the real estate. The
Okay.
ground's messed up. Like it looked like we in Iraq or something, bro.
Hmm.
Obviously, they conditions way worse. But
Right.
so now we on Portland. The next big street up there is Park, and then Chicago, which is where it happened. And I'll show
Okay.
you on the corner of 38 of Chicago. Um, with the down the Popeyes. Yeah, the corner of Chicago, bro. Like 10 businesses that way, 10 businesses that way, 10 business like everything, bro. And then what they did, flattened it all out, building up condos. And Lake in Chicago used to be like crackheads. The only reason you go there is because you had to transfer. There's a bus station there, or because there was a Foot Locker over there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, let me
Interesting.
see. That gas station, I guess they rebuilding it, but that was gone.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
This car wash didn't get hit. This Mexican place didn't get hit. It's like an ice cream place.
Mm-hmm. Oh, La Micho Con.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly. You know the vibes.
sorry if I said that wrong, but shout out. That's another awesome business model. Okay, can we talk about the La Micho Con? Okay, shout out to them.
So
But
right here, that was like 6 businesses, bro. Half the block. And then right here, this used to be a legendary shoe store called Walter Shoes, I believe. You can see Philando Castile in the garden. They turned it into a garden. There they go, right there.
mm,
This gone, bro. It don't look that big right there, but bro, that was a T-Mobile, a Foot Locker, a restaurant, and something else, all right in there. Then they building up joints like this
oh,
out of
wow.
nowhere, bro. And then we gonna take a left, and you gonna see. So if you go up that way, that's where George Floyd was murdered. But you gonna see, look, all gone. And then I'm gonna show you on the left side. This was all businesses, bro. Like, shit that we needed over here. And then look at on this side, all gone.
Damn. So that's what you mean about flatten it out. So all like the damaged building, they just like tear it out, tear it away,
Yep.
and build up.
That was one right in there. You can see the fire.
Damn.
I've
So
I've eaten here before.
Why would people burn up their own community business infrastructure like that?
See that? That was a motherfucking Popeyes.
They said, Popeyes, we don't need you no more.
Literally, bro.
Whatever happened to the that big ass that big ass liquor store? Is it Mini Haha or is that the street
Oh yeah,
name?
we could go over there. Whoa, we could go that
Did
way
they
too.
did they build
Oh,
that back? It looked like they drop a bomb in that
that joint's
bitch.
done for. Look at this. Black Bean Coffee Company. Union, local, black owned.
Don't burn us. They didn't burn
Right.
that one though, right?
No, they didn't. Look at how they did the hospital. They boarded up the hospital, bro.
But they didn't do nothing to the hospital though, right?
Nah, there was. She used to work at the hospital when this happened, this exact hospital, so she knows.
Damn.
Look at the
Damn,
doors
it's
is boarded.
still boarded.
Yeah, bro.
Wow.
Look at dude.
That's right, get it in.
Like it's not cold out here.
Shit, you gotta get to it. Damn, that's crazy. You know what? So the also George Floyd death, but also the economic impacts. And then we talk about coronavirus right after that.
Bro.
Are those people
Yeah, during show route. Um the economic impact, oh, they took the street and made it into a bike path. Whoa.
this is
See, but they got money
Minneapolis.
bike path. How they make a
They got
bike
money to
path? How
make
y'all
bike
got
path.
money to but y'all don't got money to
Hmm.
give to these failing businesses or whatever, but y'all got money to make a bike path?
Right.
Crazy. That's why people like myself or people like yourself, I don't know if you want to, but got to get on city council because it is black people on city council, but they just sit there and they just go with it. They're like, okay, you're
We
right.
we do need more, you know, people to be involved in politics that understand the political system as well. That's just not my lane. I would advise anybody that wants to get into politics to be well versed in politics because with Donald Trump not having any political, you know, previous political experience and then becoming president, a lot of people out here is like, well, shit, you know, I didn't really study this or this wasn't really my, you know, focus, but shit, I'm a run and that's good because you know for some people because you know they're like committed to their community but for
Right.
some people we don't need other further like we need people that are concerned and committed but that also know politics basically you know
Mm-hmm.
is all I is my only worry is that you know people don't really know the system and want to run for city council.
Yeah, facts. That is a fact for sure. So at least they making it beautiful a little bit, like they painting,
Mm-hmm.
you know. That's one thing. Oh, this right here, pawn jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
This dude,
Got
what's his name?
killed.
Yeah, you know about it.
What happened? I remember vaguely.
What's his name? I've begun to protest for him and all this. Um, it's not Hardell Sherrill. He was not protesting, bro was rioting. I mean, what's it called?
Trying to
Looting?
break in.
Yeah, he was looting. But the owner was outside and was like, yo, I got insurance. It's all good. Y'all can loot me. Black dude
Hmm.
in, try to grab some jewels. Boom, he blow him down.
What?
Blew him down.
After he told them to come in there?
Yup, but because of like see, there's so many laws, you know. Minnesota law says we don't have a stand your ground state. You can't just
Mm-hmm.
defend your property. You can't defend yourself. We have this joint called duty to flee in Minnesota, where if you can get away, you get away. It goes so far as to say that if your loved one is in danger, you still got to get away. Even if you like, you got to protect your loved one. Nope, still try to get away. So,
Hmm.
dude didn't try to get away when his store was getting looted. He just blew him down.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no justice for him either, you know. So not only is there the economic impact of this, not only is there, like you mentioned, coronavirus and all this, not only is there the city is gone and they're about to gentrify this joint crazy, you know, because black people typically we don't just come together and pool our money and and buy something, you know, like Rick Ross be talking about it, buy back the block. But that line of thought doesn't come down to the regular day-to-day people enough. Like I could put down 5,000. You could put down 5,000. 10 of us put down 5,000. We just put 10,000. We just put 10% down on a $500,000 building or a plot of land. We could change the whole block forever, but it doesn't. It doesn't trickle down that way. I don't know what it is.
Mm,
Everywhere, his face is everywhere in the city. But
definitely.
my bad. I'm just ranting.
Oh no, no, it's not ranting, it's good context, you know. So, I don't even know how long we've been on here, but we've definitely touched on a lot. I do want to talk a little bit about the police department, the Minneapolis Police Department. What updates can you give us about them? I know that they've been going through some changes and things like that, city council, you know, plans for the department and things like that.
Word, word. So perfect timing on that because I'm about to pull up to the third precinct right now, and you'll see that it's still shut down. So the third precinct, they said, "Hey, y'all burned us down. We need a whole new building." And they wanted to get how many millions was it to build a new precinct? It was like 12, 5. Yeah, it was. I thought it was 8 million or something to build a new building, which doesn't sound like a lot because LA gets like 1.5 billion for y'all police department, but we don't get that. This was a building right here. This was a Wendy's or an Arby's,
Mm.
and then right next to them, this is the police department. It's still no cars out here. I'll
What?
address your question, but I just want to show y'all this. Like the building looks intact, but
Wow.
it's done for.
On the inside. It was fucked up on the inside.
Yep.
Yeah. And then the mini haha right there across the street.
Yep, it's gone.
It's gone. The whole damn. The whole building.
That's not the only one. You
Damn.
can go straight and hit this around the triangle. You gonna see everything is gone, bro.
Oh man.
Gone.
And this community, who lives in this community, this area?
This is like I would say like a third white. This is gone. This was a building.
Hmm.
Oh, that was the post office.
Oh my God, not the post office.
See, now they building up. They got a little stage right here. Gandhi Mahal. I don't know what this is, but they building it up, planting grass. Let's see how long that lasts. This is gone. That was a Wendy's.
Looks like they're building it back though.
That building back there was the first one that was on fire. So they got so much money and infrastructure to build back these buildings.
Still burnt.
Hmm. Over here though. What area is
Over.
this?
This is called this Lake in Minnehaha. This is like you're getting into like East Side Minneapolis. Like I've
Okay.
never lived over here this far. I don't really want to live over here. It's kind of like removed from everything.
What's that building?
That was a library.
Yeah, it looked like a library.
Yeah. But and then this too. I forgot what this was. Maybe like some type of residential joint, but everything over here was done for like day one. But to respond to your question though, um they cut their budget down by 8 million, which doesn't seem like a lot like I said, but I think our police budget is like 180 million. So a
Mm-hmm.
year. So they didn't even take off 10%. They took off not even 5% of their budget. But they acted like it was a big victory or something like that. Here goes another building that's gone. Oh, that was a Walgreens.
Hmm.
Um,
Wow.
and then they tried to, after they took their budget down, say, let us get like 8 million back because we need to build a new building. But I don't know, man. The police taking away their budget, unless you do it on a major level, like what does it do? They lost 8 million out of 180 million dollars.
Mm.
But then you want to give them training budget.
Right, and then they asked for a bigger training budget. They did ask the city council, like, "Hey, we need a bigger training budget. You guys are asking us to do all these new things that we don't know how to do. We need a bigger training budget." But
Mm-hmm.
if you see this video Sean King just posted about, there's one specific dude that goes and gives seminars and trainings to police. He talks about how, oh, just killing someone is that's just a perk of the job. Having sex after you kill someone at work feels so much better. Killing someone's not that big of a deal. You got to go ahead and hit your target when you're in battle. Like, they get brainwashed into this.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you take their budget down by half and you don't change the laws, they still gonna hit their target. They still gonna. So this right here, what school is this?
Longfellow.
Okay, so Philando Castile, he didn't teach here, but this is a partner school to the school that he taught at. Philando was murdered in 2016. I don't know if y'all recall Philando Castile. He really set the city up on fire, like not on fire, but almost at first.
Hmm.
And the cop that killed him got off and is actually a cop for another police department. Um,
So why do you think Philando Castile didn't get justice, even though we seen this police officer shoot him when he after he asked him for his driver's license? Do you know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Compared to George Floyd, like what
Um,
within a 4 year time frame, like when we talk about like why George Floyd got justice, definitely the protest for sure, but also it was the fact that we seen him on video kneeling on his neck for an extended period of time. But again, we see Philando Castile get shot with a kid in the back seat. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
so
Like why it wasn't this,
so that baby girl, we know her well. We know her mom. Her mom's name is Lavish as well. So me and
how are
her are,
they?
yeah. Um, and what's Diamond? That's her name? Yeah, Diamond.
How are
Um,
they?
they're affected. She can't really go out to protest like that. She has super PTSD. Definitely like a majorly affected, by that. She was in the back seat and she actually got her own civil suit because her and her daughter were at risk, like could have been killed. A bullet hit her daughter's car seat, like right next to where her head was. So
Wow.
they built this target back up, by the way. This target is popping.
Hmm.
Um, but I think it's horrible to say this, but it's almost like Nancy Pelosi, she tried to say it and she said it wrong. She was like, "Thank you, George Floyd, for dying, for getting justice." Like, would you die to get your own justice? No, that doesn't even make sense. He didn't change anything on a major scale, not yet at least. But I think George Floyd was like a culmination of COVID. Nobody could be distracted. There was no sports. There was no nothing else. You couldn't watch LeBron on TV. You couldn't even go to the gym. There was nothing else. It was also that there had just been Ahmaud Arbery. There had been Breonna Taylor. It was super. It was growing. There was momentum behind George Floyd, and then George Floyd just set it off. And then they chose the wrong city to do it in. Apparently, they did
Hmm.
it in Minneapolis. They thought Minneapolis didn't have black people and didn't have people that was going to turn up. They was wrong. They thought they could just Derek Chauvin putting his knee on his neck for over 9 minutes. That was also part of it. Apparently, these all lives matter people are these people that are kind of on the edge. They're not anti-racist, but you know they still like racist a little bit. You know what I mean? Like diet racism, where they be like, "Oh, I have a black cousin." One of them. Those people needed to see something that was so brutal to even put it into their mind. They needed to basically see slavery. They needed to see lynching. I've never watched the whole George Floyd video. I've watched like 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30. I watched the whole thing in the court when the prosecution was showing it in court. But a lot of people haven't watched the whole thing, but maybe that's what people needed to see, apparently, which makes no sense. But I think for, you know, um, Philando's mom, her name is Valerie. And Valerie doesn't really come out, right? The straw that broke the camel's back. Valerie doesn't really come out because the movement got kind of messed up. Like people were all over the place with her son, with Philando. But Philando was big in the community. He worked at a school. I think I'm forgetting the name of the school, but it's like right over here. And a lot of people came out for him, and she wanted his death not to be in vain. Like let this bring some global attention. And unfortunately, his didn't. And then George Floyd came along, boom. And I guess that was the one. But in between Philando and George Floyd, there were like 4,000 people murdered by police. Why didn't any of them? Why didn't any of them? And it's just because people are racist as fuck. And for real. For real, that's at the end of the day, bro. That's it. We got all these reasons, like the system is bad. It's not a justice system, it's an injustice system. It's designed and built, but it's just everybody racist, bro. At the end of the day, you get tired of trying to explain why, and you just be like, bro, y'all racist. You know what I mean? But for sure, like
Period.
straw that broke the camel's back. Like enough was enough, basically. But like, I guess the one thing I have seen that changed right away though was how the media is showing all these murders. We'll see how long this lasts. But there have
Right.
been 3 people that I know of murdered in the last 3 days by police. Anthony, that was his girlfriend's mom called the police on him, and they shot him in his school. The you know about that one?
What city was this?
I don't know the city, bro, and I don't know his last name, but he was 17-year-old. He had a white girlfriend. The girlfriend's mom was like mad at the boyfriend, so she called the police on him. How
Hmm.
many times do these white people or these people gotta call the police, gotta call the slave patrol to figure out they not for you? I don't get it. The
Right.
police is a slave patrol, bro. It's the same entity, never changed. So black people call the police on themselves, and then the police kill them. That's what just happened with Makia. Apologize if I'm saying her name wrong, but the 15-year-old girl in Ohio, she was getting jumped, had a knife protecting herself. Hey, I'm getting jumped outside of my house. Come help me. The police come and kill her. The police don't care if you die or not. Okay, Anthony was in Knoxville. Boom.
Okay.
Anthony
All
was in.
right.
The mom called the police on him. Basically, if you call the police on somebody, specifically a black person, you gotta want them to die. Like, I'm not gonna call the police on nobody unless I want them dead at this point. And I don't know how people not realizing that. Like, Anthony, his girlfriend's mom, she called the police. They ran up in his school. Bro, if I tried to go to the high school I went to and I had to go speak the other day at my high school, they wouldn't let me in. How y'all let the police in? Don't let the police in. Nobody should let the police in. But until these people that hold positions of power, like a principal, a superintendent, a school board, the manager of a business, until those are black people that'll be like, no, police can't come in here. I don't foresee any drastic change on the way police gonna handle things. Because police kill white people too. You know what I mean? Last year, 500 people was white that was killed by police.
Hmm.
White people just aren't affected by it as much. 75% of the population, half of y'all are killed. 13% of the population, it's about 40% of the police murders. That's disproportionate as hell. But white people we met with a white woman on the journey to justice, and she had kind of a different outlook on it too.
Oh
Well,
yeah. In terms of what? Like, what was her outlook?
so her name was Andrea, and her son, Tony Robinson. Everybody on here, go look up Tony Robinson in Madison, Wisconsin. Her son was mixed. He was half white, half black. But he was like 6'5". He was handsome. He was on point. He was he graduated high school, right? He was like 20. I think he had been out of high school for 2 years. He was in like a local community college, whatever. He was on his path. And bro his life was difficult with his dad. She told us. And he did shrooms for the first time ever.
Hmm.
And his friend, who was experienced with shrooms, left him for a minute. Or he was like, come to my house so I can help you through the process. Now, she told us, my son, he was big, so he thought he had to do everything big. He was like 6'6", so he thought he had to do everything big. So instead, on his first time, he like, yo, I need a lot of shrooms. The
Oh
man,
hell no.
7 grams of shrooms.
Oh hell no.
Shrooms with 7 grams is insane. You not on earth no more. I've never done that for sure. I don't know if in here has done that. So he was tripping, and he was having a bad trip. A lot of like past life or previous life traumas were brought up from him and his dad, whatever. He was what happened? He was at not the wrong apartment.
No,
His homie just wasn't home.
no, his homie was like, I can't, I don't know how to deal with this. He
Oh,
called his
yeah.
mom. His mom was like, all right, if you have to call the police, go ahead.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
he was at his friend's house, and he like I don't know if he left and went down the street, but he was at his friend's house. They called the police, and he ended up in this other apartment.
Yeah, he was in the street. His homie was like, bro, I can't handle you, bro. This is too much. Obviously not thinking the police was going to do that. So his friend called Tony's mom and was like, yo, your son is out of his mind. She was like, yo, if you can't handle it, call the police. His mom is white.
Mm.
No, don't call the police. She was thinking maybe like
Help him.
yeah, they'd help him or
Paramedic.
that a paramedic or something like that would show up. Now, my grandma lives in Madison, Wisconsin, 5 blocks away from where this happened. Tony Robinson's mom knows my grandma.
Hmm.
She's like, "Is that your grandma, the old lady that be at the grocery store?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's my grandma." In that neighborhood, it's all old heads, all old hippies from the 60s. They used to do shrooms and was revolutionary. Like that neighborhood, if you tripping on shrooms, somebody will come help you. Like you, that neighborhood is like a hippie commune almost. So if somebody knew he was tripping, they would have helped him for sure. The police get called. The cop says he kicked me down a flight of stairs. He was too big. He was this, that, and the third. Bro was on shrooms, and you pull up as a cop, you're gonna be so scared, bro. You're gonna lose your mind for sure.
Right.
The cop shot him. The cop was like, "I had a bruise on my eye." Da, 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 da.
The cops said that he got kicked down the stairs. There's no evidence.
Yeah, there was no evidence that he got kicked down a flight of stairs. And then the cop shot him in the chest twice. Tell me why the cop,
He shot like 15 times.
word, the cop got a raise though. The cop is still a cop there, and the cop got a raise. Let's say that you or me, we just kill somebody, right? We gonna be different forever. Like if we shoot somebody point blank range in the chest, we let off the whole clip. Our brain, our soul, our spirit is never gonna be the same. But the way these cops are, he got an award, like she just said. But the way these cops are, maybe it's in their mind, it's like not that bad of a thing. Like it's part of the line of duty.
How
I
you
gotta
were saying the
like how
training.
exactly.
Right, exactly. So yeah, they're desensitized to that. They're encouraged for that kind of behavior, basically. You feel me? Especially with the whole qualified immunity thing, you
Mm,
know?
yep,
And
Paul,
um
that's the
and that's
one.
terrible what happened to, this young man. But
So
yeah, don't call the police.
don't call the police. And I swear to God, it be people thinking they're helping. I was gonna say white people, but I'm gonna just say people in general, because Makia just called the police on herself. Because people don't have no other resource. People don't have no
Right,
other option. People don't have
right,
no other who do I call.
right.
That it gotta be like I brought up initially when me and you was talking earlier, it gotta be people politics. Like the government politics got police. Why the people don't got police? So when the police get to wilding out, we call our police. Like, hold up, no, 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 not over here.
Well, I
Or
mean, we
tripping like Tony Robinson, there's a number. You know, no,
right.
I got T-Mobile. If I gotta call T-Mobile, I call 611. If I gotta call pet control, I call 111. I gotta call police, you call 911. Why it ain't a 311, a 411, a 222?
Right,
And our police in this neighborhood, that's not hard to do.
right.
We, I don't know.
We got to be there mentally, collectively to do that. And when we did have that, you see exactly what happened. You feel
Exactly.
me? The government want to
Exactly.
tear that down, and did that. They killed or jailed all of those Black Panthers who were doing just that. And so what I think is that there's been like we talk about it more now, like COINTELPRO and things like that, but I just encourage people to really go back and to research exactly like what that was, and just the ways in which J. Edgar Hoover and his people you know moved in on the Black community, and other groups, but none to the real extent like the Black Panthers. And I see a lot of people that are, and I'm glad that are activists and that are, wanting things to change. But I just hope and wish that we do our research and we look back to the people that came before us and literally lost their lives for anything that we think that we're about to do right
Mm-hmm.
now, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And I think it's like highly disrespectful to not talk about those people and to not do that research. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we didn't talked about a lot. You feel me? And I had some questions, but I didn't even really need to look at them because everything kind of really came up in conversation.
Right.
One thing though that I do want to talk about, which is something that you did and organized to involve yourself in a way that you felt would be beneficial to help out in the movement, which was you organized your Journey to Justice campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is where you walked from Minneapolis to the home of Breonna Taylor and meeting with families of police violence, you know, families of those who have been victims of police violence along the way. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So just to start, this is Courtney.
Hey, Courtney.
What up?
Hey.
So Courtney was on the journey with me the whole time. So if you got anything to chime in or whatever, if you got an idea, she was with me the whole way. She was driving. She walked a lot too, though. But so we started right away. I'm not gonna really talk about the walking because it's just anybody can walk for real. I mean, I hurt my ankle, whatever, but anybody can walk. So the bigger impact to me was meeting with the families, like you just said, and a lot of them stand out. I mean, we met with I think 28. So like off top, there's like 5 that come to my mind, and I got to look back into a couple other ones, but there's a couple that stand out. Is there anything specific you want me to address? Like I could talk about specific cases, or I could talk about my experience, or anything specific that you want to hear.
Yeah, kind of like, yeah, I want to hear about your experiences with the family and also just the experience in general, you know? So,
Okay.
yeah, just what comes to mind, things that stood out the most during your experience and just what you hoped, you know, would come from your journey to justice.
So initially, the first one that just came to mind, I'll talk about. His name's Joel Acevedo in Milwaukee. Talking about this shit, like I could just cry talking about it. It's so crazy. So Joel was Puerto Rican, and the organization that I partnered with is called Justice Squad. It's a Black woman-led organization started by Ashley Quinones, who lost her husband Brian Quinones, who's also Puerto Rican and is from the same city as Joel Acevedo. They're basically damn near neighbors. It's a small city in Puerto Rico called Ponce. They're native, indigenous, but they look black, basically, right? Like you know how like black or Puerto Ricans look, you might think, you know. So he was a security guard, and he was 25, and he was cold with animals, bro. He had birds, and he could make the birds talk, and he had all kind of animals, and he would spend thousands on birds, and then trade the bird for another bird, and he would light up any room, and he was beautiful, and he lived with his parents because he just was he loved his family so much. Here's a photo of him right here.
Aw.
Yep. So Joel was a security guard downtown and at a nice place. No. He would go to the gym at a nice place. He was a security guard, and then he got an even better security job position, like where he had a gun, and he was like an on-point security guard. Everybody downtown knew him. He was that man, and he started getting cool with cops. Right? They are black, right? So he started getting cool with a couple police officers to the point where they go to the gym, like they were workout partners, basically. And then they got so cool they started kicking it outside of the gym. He he was cool with like 5 cops. He was in the process of becoming a cop. Listen to this, y'all. He was in the process of becoming a police officer. And one day he was at a boxing. You know how people go? They got like a McGregor fight, a Mayweather fight. It's like a watch party. Everybody go to the crib and they watch it. He was at his homie's crib, cops, but there was a cop there a couple cops that didn't know him, and the cops had a conversation, and the conversation led to him being choked for 10 minutes in the cop's house, and the cop called the police. Got him. I'm choking him right now, making sure he doesn't go anywhere. I'm choking him right now, making sure he doesn't go anywhere. I swear to God, I won't tell. I swear to God, I won't tell anybody. Just let me go home. I swear to God, I won't tell anybody. I won't tell anybody. I'll keep my mouth shut. Just let me go home. I won't say anything. So he's like pleading. And the one cop that he works out with, this motherfucker, he goes to the gym with him, choked him out for 10 minutes. What was his name? Michael Mattioli. Mattioli, that was his name. Mattioli was the cop's name They were homies, and he choked him out in his crib for 10 minutes. You could hear him struggling, screaming, begging, hey, I won't tell anybody. What is he talking about that he won't tell nobody?
Right.
So we get to Milwaukee. He's the second family that we meet with. We're in his house for like 10 hours. They invite us in. They've never met us. We've only spoken on the phone via text for 2 seconds. They invite us in the house. We're in the house for 8-10 hours, bro. We just walked all the day before. We're in there for 10 hours. Going insane, praying, talking, holding hands, crying, praying, talking. And these people, they religious, but they spiritual. So you want to connect with God when you in there. Like, you feel the presence in there. You feel like you just had a sermon, and it was amazing. We were actually in there with a pastor too, who happened to lose his brother in 1988 in Milwaukee. And this was fresh. His 1-year anniversary was on Monday. A year ago, past Monday, he was murdered.
What did you say his last name was?
Acevedo. ACE.
EDO.
Yep. Acevedo. Yep. Acevedo. Yep. And I asked the family, I'm like, I'm going to try to word this differently so Instagram don't kick us off, because if I say how I say, it's done. I asked the family, what is making y'all not remove these cops from existence? What's making y'all not, get vengeance? People always try to get accountability, but don't nobody ever try to get vengeance. So I'm like, what don't make y'all get vengeance? And the dad, Jose, who didn't talk for an hour straight, 2 hours straight, 3 hours straight, he didn't say anything. He just, one time he started crying, and then he walked off, and he came back. And after that, he started talking. And we're in his house on his couch. Only the mom is talking, but she's turned up. The mom is lit, bro. The mom is hard. So the dad comes back, and he's like, oh, I planned on it. I had 2 people outside his house, but when they were like, we're ready to go in, I told them, don't do it. And that was the closest anybody on the entire journey ever admitted to trying to knock these cops off. Because people will say, nah, we can't do that. I'm like, if a gang member killed your other family member, you would just go retaliate. So why you can't do it when it's the slave master?
Okay.
So, right? Why can't you do it? And I think Malcolm X talked about this. I think me being mixed, so I'm white and I'm only a quarter black. I think me being able to come from a white side as well allows me to not be scared of white people. Allows me to say, I'm not going to say it on here, but I'll off you, bro. Like, part of me is on the same field as you. Part of me hasn't been degraded over generations.
Right.
On here, my joint, I had the time limit on there. So,
yeah.
Now that was low battery. Look at this. So part of me is like, yo, I can do whatever I want. Even though they look at me like I'm black, I know my dad is white. What's up, bro? Black people don't have that. And maybe, and I'm not going to say black as a whole, but black people need to not have this thing where, like, black people need to know that you superior, bro. I'm going to say it. You better than white people. Like, I feel like women is better than men. But I think just being stepped on, being marginalized, coming from not shit, redlining, not having no opportunity, resources, jobs, and a lot of times we only know as far as we know. We only know what we've seen is possible. When the first man ran the 4-minute mile, nobody could do it. They thought it was impossible. The same year the person ran the 4-minute mile, 20 other people did it. So for me, it's like, yo, I just don't get it. Like, have you ever read Booker T. Washington's book?
I'm not gonna.
I forgot the name of it.
I have not. I'm familiar with his story.
He like would sympathize with the white people because he grew up around them. And when a slave master would get sick, he would cry and he would feel bad for them. And when slavery ended, because he was like a 7-year-old boy when slavery ended, he felt bad for the little white kids that didn't have any real life experience because they were just rich ass slave owners' kids. He felt bad for them. And I feel like that type of idea is still carried on. And this is specifically addressing why people would never retaliate against the cops. Because you would definitely go kill another black person that just killed your black child. But you won't
Right.
off the cop though? You won't? Why?
Yeah. I think that's just white supremacy, you feel me, doing its
It is.
job and
It
being
is for sure.
ingrained.
Yep.
For
And
sure.
I don't mean to say that that's black people's fault by any means.
Right.
Like you just
Yeah.
said, that's white supremacy doing its job.
Right. Definitely. So yeah, I mean, I feel like we were talking about Journey to Justice and then we kind
Yeah,
of
my
like
bad. I
trailed
just
off
went
into it.
crazy.
But yeah, so yeah, what else would you say, you remember or you want people to know?
Um, we met with another lady named Justin or Latoya Howell, and Latoya Howell was like 32. She was young. Um, he, she's like 32, and she had her son Justice. His name was Justice, first of all, when she was only 16. So maybe she's like 34 now because it happened a couple years ago. But she lived in Zion, Illinois. If you look up Zion, Illinois, you'd see that there's like KKK meetings and shit that still go through the street to
Hmm.
this day, and it's one of the main meeting places of like Midwestern KKK. Zion, Illinois is a suburb of Chicago. It's not far. We walked from Zion to Chicago 3 days, I think, 2 days. So it's not far, but um, Justice was like, I don't know what he was doing that day. Like, I don't know what led up to this, but he was murdered by police. And when they took photos of like the crime scene, his gun, the gun, I'm not going to say his gun, the gun was right perfect next to his phone, next to his wallet, next to his key. Like, but they said he was hopping a gate. But while he was hopping a gate, he was shooting over his shoulder while he was hopping a gate. But they didn't find none of the bullets. But they found all the cops' bullets. So whenever, I'm gonna just let y'all know, whenever somebody, the news is like, he shot 6 times, that's according to the cops. The news gets their joint from the cops. They don't
Right.
get it from Boston Girl. They don't get
Right.
the you. They get it from CNN. Or I mean, they get CNN get it from the cops.
Right, exactly.
You know, you get it from the people. What up, Raw? Um, so on our way there, I was reading it and I'm like, yo, this sound like bro was wilding. Like, I'm gonna be honest. It sounded like bro was wilding. I get there and it's a completely different story, So the point here is, I got a couple points. When we met with her, we don't have any questions. When we met with these people, it wasn't like we had to talk about this, and this. We just want to be there for y'all, how y'all want to be there, how y'all need us to be there for you. If that means we just talk about your new business, let's just talk about your new business and what kind of food you like. We're just here for you, however that may be for any individual. Yes, sir. So some families, they will go in depth, crazy, 3 hours going crazy. Other families, like Latoya, she only talked about his case one time, minimal detail, didn't talk up nothing that was going to make her sad or have to relive it, nothing like that. But what she did tell us was how she just opened a community center in the
Hmm.
hood, bro. A cold community center, the bottom. And then on top, there's 5 residential units. And then right next to it, she bought another building that the bottom was like a business. And then on top, there was 3 residential units. So Shorty just came from this 2 years ago and then bought 8 residential units and 2 business units on the bottom. And she had the governor help her. And she has all these people come and speak. And she has her own marches. And she's doing so much. She didn't talk about what happened. She didn't talk about where she was. She was talking about where she was going. And that one stood out to me
Mm.
much because it was so impactful. She was hurt for sure. Her son's name was Justice, but it wasn't Justice like Justice. When she had given birth to him, it was no mom, no dad, no baby dad. Her parents wasn't there to help her. It was just her and him. So she
Mm.
named him Just Us. Justus, because it's just us. that one was super impactful to me. Just his name is Just Us. It's almost like the people that get murdered by the police was like supposed to get murdered by the police. Like that sounds fucked up, but like it's like they was angels that touched the world in the way. Like you never met nobody that got murdered by the police and the people was like, yeah, dude was bogus. Nobody. Obviously, we respect people in their death, but it's nobody was like, yeah, bro was out here doing crazy shit. Da, da, da. Nobody. We never met with one. It's like they were destined to make this impact on the world. Every single one we met with, bro. Not one of them was like he dropped out of college. He was he like we didn't ever meet with nobody that was a gangbanger and got murdered by the police. It's like they target these people on purpose. They take the angels. They
I
don't take
mean,
taking whoever is wrong.
mhm.
You could have murdered someone and you still don't deserve to be murdered by the police. It's you not the judge, jury, and executioner. You just supposed to take me to court, bro. So I don't care what your crime was. But it be like Justice Howell in particular, bro, was just like he was an angel, bro. And we barely even spoke about him. The other time we just talked about what she did when she was growing up, because she was close to my age. I'm 28, she was like 34 or something, like we not far in age. So there's so many though, bro. There's so many that stood out. I don't know if you got one.
I guess if we just talk about the experience in general from the beginning, I just went to support. I was like, how can I keep you safe? And how can I supply you with what you needed? So I was like, I'll drive. And if anybody pulls up, I got a vehicle, I have my conceal and carry, like I can help you. And so I didn't have any like goal or purpose in mind. And then as we get going, I'm like researching these cases. I'm researching and reaching out to these families like, if you want to meet with us, if we can meet with you, that'd be a blessing. And I'm going through reading cases and what, the news or the police have said about them. And I'm getting sick. Like, I'm crying. I'm like, I need to take a moment for myself and back away from this. But then you pull up to their house and you're like, all right, here we go. You're not knowing what to expect. Um, you hear these stories, like he was saying, how can we didn't have any questions. It was how can we best be there for you? And there was a woman and her name was Pamela.
Oh, Pamela Wooden.
Yes, Pamela Wooden. And her son was Christopher Goodloe Jr.
Oh, this one's crazy. See, that one didn't come to my mind.
He was schizophrenic. He was in his home. She's like, we took care of that boy, and we were always calling him, making sure he was okay. We took everything. He had nothing metal in his home. Everything was plastic because he always would try to hurt himself. He was mentally ill.
Because the police killed his brother 3 years before this happened.
Yes. So they took all of that stuff out of his house. He called his mom and he was like, I'm going through it, having a breakdown. She was like, okay, I'll come bring you your favorite food. Just give me a minute and I'll be there. Somehow he got a hold of a pocket knife.
Nah, because he bought it from the store the other day. The store let him buy it.
Yeah, he had a pocket knife. When she was explaining it, like as it was going, she was like, I don't know. It looks like the store pocket knives that you can get from a convenience store. And he had cut himself all up. He was bleeding. He had cut himself all over. And he was in his underwear in the street outside of the apartment building. The apartment building was a home for people that were ill. Like most of the people in that building were mentally ill or ill some sort of way. So he was outside of this. And he was naked, bleeding to death. Like bleeding, crazy. Police show up. And they had been on a standoff with him for a while, but he had a knife. The neighbors called the police. He had been in a standoff for a while. There was like 4 or 5 police officers out there. They could have maced this boy. They could have gotten his wounds and stung. He would have dropped. The medic literally said if you would have just let him jump around and act crazy for 10, 15 more minutes, he would have lost enough blood to be on the ground. And then
he would have died.
He would have died from blood loss, or he would have gone into an arrest that you were like, okay, now we need to provide medical help. But instead, they were like, we tried to tackle this man. He was this big.
He was skinny as hell.
He was this big and bleeding to death. If you would have tried and tackled him, it would have been over. but instead you shot him, I think 4 times in the chest. And you had to sit there and like, she was just there like, I'm thankful that you guys are here just to hear me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thankful that you are here to just see me. She barely
Mm-hmm.
even shed a tear, but she just wanted to be heard.
It was
insane. Then you have another woman who all she wanted from us was, do you know any way I could get in contact with somebody to help me with my case?
Tracy.
No. I can't. I always forget her name. Her son was shot in the chest, and that was the beneath the.
Alvin called Tracy. Her name's Tracy.
Her name's Tracy, and she made CNN made a documentary of her called Beneath the Skin. You can check. I said about it.
Yeah.
But they shot her son in the chest, and somehow he was cut from wrist to toes. The coroner cut his body up. So she's like, the only people that I've talked to are like, well, they took his bones, they took his organs, and buried him.
They did him like Nat Turner, bro.
Yeah.
So she went to the funeral home, and the funeral home director was like, yo, make sure you bring a long sleeve for your son. She's like, why? He's like, just do it. I've never seen a body like this. They basically did him like Nat Turner, bro. He was like an athlete. He never broke a bone. He was like a perfect specimen, you could say. And
when she went to go identify the body, they only showed her on a tiny screen his head.
Yeah.
Then when she went to the funeral home, called her and was like, you need to bring a long sleeve. And she was like, why? What happened? She said, I don't know what happened to him, but I don't know. I've never seen anybody cut up like this. Mm-hmm. She then went to the coroner because the funeral home took pictures. She was like, I want pictures. I need to show somebody. She took pictures, and she went over back to the coroner and was like, why did you do this?
And they were like, we just did a autopsy.
Yeah.
They cut him from the top of his head to his ass cheeks. They cut him from his neck down to his arms, neck, arms, armpit, like legs, in the legs, on the body, everywhere. And he don't got organs, no ribs.
Wait, that's unknown.
It's not a fact, but the dude was like, they took shit out of his body. And these police, they be keeping trophies and weird shit, bro.
So what she was asking from us was, do you know how I can get his body exhumed? And I was like, she's like, I don't know how much it's going to cost me. I don't know where to go. But if you come across anyone, please let me know. And that was just a little something that she was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have her name or what city she was in?
I do. I can get it.
Okay, send me that. And yeah, we could do some follow-up with some of these families.
This happened. Yeah, let's do that for sure. This happened 6 years ago, and it's like it happened today. Like she's
never healing.
She can't heal.
She can't heal until she knows.
Yeah, she hasn't taken the steps. That's another thing. These families, they don't heal like that. And you know, maybe it's because they don't know how, or there's no resources for them to get it, but they need healing. Maybe if it's something as simple as meditation, or it's yoga, or it's massages, or it's group, not just talking about it. You know, talking about it is like you reliving it. So Cynthia Lane.
Okay.
Rashad McIntosh. I'll text you all this though.
Okay, definitely.
But yeah, bro, that one's super crazy. I didn't want to bring it up because it's just insane, but
I guess
it'd be like that.
Only thing I was leading to say was I was going through spiritual, like, emotional exhaustion and pain. He was physically exhausted, but none of it can amount to the pain that you see on these families' eyes. And you're out here and you want a reason, and that is a reason. That is your reason for being out here and fighting every day, because they are going through pain that they'll never, ever, ever get over.
Boom. Period. For sure.
Definitely. Well, dang, we actually have been on here for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, we have been. I just
peeped the time.
Right.
But what I am going to do is, like, you know, make sure that this video interview is like archived, and then I can like upload it to like YouTube, or like chop some of it up to like repost. So definitely it's going to be, preserved. But before we hop off of, this particular live, um, is there anything else that you want the people to know? And also, just any tips that you want to give the people about, staying engaged or other ways that they can keep up the fight?
Yeah, for sure. Educate yourself. We don't know what we don't know. So educate, get a book. We got social media, bro. We can find books and education sources everywhere. Join an organization. You don't have to like change your whole lifestyle up, but you could get some education on that. Tune into politics a little bit. Follow people that are already in the movement, going hard, doing their thing. See how you can get involved. And it doesn't have to be your entire life, like myself or yourself or whoever, but you know, just contribute how you can. Everybody got a different way. So
Hmm.
yeah, find it or organize, donate. You got money? Donate. Just spend it. Send it to
Okay,
some
well, see, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about donate. You feel me? Like,
true.
I don't think just because you're protesting, let me
It got to
say,
be the right organization. It
it
don't
got
just
to be
got to
the
be.
right organization,
Yeah,
not somebody that just like started protesting last week
yeah, nah,
and think that people need to send them donations because they're thirsty. If you
right.
don't go call your family members up, you feel me, and stop like siphoning donations from the internet, I think that it's a lot going on around here, and people, especially
Totally.
white people, should definitely be redistributing the wealth,
Yes.
but
Oh,
being very mindful to make sure that your dollars can make an impact. You feel
yeah,
me?
and make an impact. Exact. You said it precisely. That's part of that education piece. That's part of follow the right people that are doing it. And it's hard to know until you get in it. So you got to be careful with that. But
Definitely,
white
definitely.
people do feel like, oh, I can spend my money, and that is a good thing. But you can spend your money wrong, and I've seen it happen. I know a
Right.
motherfucker that ran up a Dodge Charger off of donations.
Right, that part. So
So here's
yeah.
here's an example. Later today, I'm actually about to once we finish this, I'm gonna go meet with Dante Wright's mother, and I'm gonna
Mm,
give her a check for $4,300 that my friends that own a skate shop uptown in Minneapolis, they raffled off these Nike Dunks. They raffled off these shoes, and all the proceeds from the shoe sales and from the raffle, they're just giving directly to her. Now they
mm,
didn't know where to send the money, so they reached out to me because they know that I'm in it, and they said, "Yo, how can I get this money to her?" And I'm like, "Yo, I know her. Do it like that. You could do it like that."
right.
And so
Gotta do
well,
your research though and
yeah, for
knowing
sure.
who to tap in with for sure.
Donate
Yeah,
to the
shout
Slauson girl.
buy some merchandise for
Buy some
sure.
merchandise.
Buy
Yeah.
some merch. Get some tangibles for your donation. But yeah, um there was something else that I wanted to. But yeah, any other anything else you want the people to know, and let them know where they can find you? Are you still selling your police to
Yeah. So
police?
yep. So if you go to the link in my bio or revoltnow.org, I sell some T-shirts that say I don't got one on. They say "Police to Police." I also got some masks. Um,
Okay,
I actually
period.
just gave 20 of them away to the high school that I went to because they organized a walkout. They walked out of class. I was like, "Fuck this school." So yeah, but
Okay.
I'm everywhere. I'm out here, Lavish Mac on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok.
Okay, definitely, definitely. And didn't you do an interview about Journey to Justice? People might want to check out to see
Yeah,
more or
did I post that joint? It's on Unicorn Riot. Um,
hmm.
I did a couple other ones, but the one on Unicorn Riot is hard. I don't know if y'all follow Unicorn Riot, or go to my Instagram. You can see it on there. Georgia,
Hmm.
Georgia Ford. She's a black woman. I think I might have connected y'all, or I showed her who you are. But
Hmm.
uh,
Okay, definitely. All right, cool.
beautiful. We got to talk and share this space.
All right, bro.
Hey, love. Thank
Yes,
you for
me
the time,
too, definitely.
and then
Of
talk as
course.
always.
And definitely. Well, I'll be in touch and y'all have a good day. Good talking to you. What was your friend's name again?
Courtney. Courtney Paris.
Courtney. All right, peace, Queen. Nice to talk to you. All right,
Peace.
peace, peace. Peace. Okay, you guys, thanks for tuning in.